Hey, I just want to give a quick shout out. We are in week 5 of our 10 Commandments series. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. Thank you. I can't believe we're already in week 5. And I just want to give a shout out. Maya and then y'all's leaders did a really good job last week. Yeah? No? That's weak, dude, because I watched the service and I know it was good. And I know Maya did a good job. And if you're not screaming, it's because you're a jerk. You little jerks. Maya did a good job. All right, as you guys know, that was not in my notes, and I'll get us started now. Hey, so we're in week 5, and before we get into this next commandment, if you guys don't know what it is, it's honor your parents. Look at your neighbor and be like, uh-oh. Let them know, dude. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I know some of you guys, I know for a fact that some of you did not honor your parents on the way to church. Who was that? Who was that? You didn't do it? Hey, that's fine, dude. Honesty. Y'all didn't do it? Anybody over here? Anybody? Did you guys honor your parents? Did you honor your parents? Did you honor your parents? Who didn't honor their parents? Hey, that's good. That's good. Well, listen. Before we actually talk about honoring parents, here's what I want you to know. I need you to see where this command sits. Because this is not random instruction, honor your parents. This is the hinge commandment. You see, the first 4 commandments, they're God-facing. We've gone the first 4 weeks. They dealt with worship. They dealt with allegiance. They dealt with trust. It dealt with rest. And these last 5 commandments, these are actually people-facing. And they're going to deal with how a community actually lives together. Because remember, Israel they were slaves, now they're free people, and God has not given them a list of rules, but he's giving them a way and a guide to become free people so that they never go back to where they came from. This commandment sits right in the middle. It's the bridge. And Moses is intentionally saying something here. He's saying how you learn to relate to authority in the home will determine how you relate to authority everywhere else. This honor is where theology becomes sociology. It's where it becomes personal. This is where belief stops being private and starts becoming culture in your life, culture in your home. Moses is not just forming worshipers, he's forming a people who can build a society. Because you can worship God passionately and still destroy community if you don't know how to honor authority in a godly way. So Moses places this command here on purpose, right in the middle. Not because, listen, parents aren't perfect. Neither are you. Not because authority is easy, because sometimes it's just hard to respect somebody's authority. But because how authority is handled determines whether freedom lasts. Remember, slaves stepping into freedom. How authority is handled right now is going to determine whether their freedom lasts or will they go back and act like where they came from. If honor collapses in the home, it will collapse everywhere else. This commandment is not about childhood obedience. It's about what kind of people Israel will become when they have power of their own. Because one day, guess what? You'll have authority. Right now, you're under authority. One day, you will have authority. Who will you be? All that's going to matter on how you understand and relate to authority. And that's why this commandment matters. That's why it comes here. That's why it still matters now, today. You see, every generation faces the same choice. I had to face it. You guys have to face it. My parents had to face it. Your grandparents had to face it. Will I let what shaped me determine who I become? Or will I let God reshape me into somebody better, somebody stronger? Honor is not primarily about parents. It's about identity. Say identity. It's about deciding what kind of person will I be when authority disappoints me. Because here's the truth, authority will disappoint you. You're going to have a boss who just stinks because they're not a healthy person. You're going to have a parent who's a really great parent. Some of you guys are going to have really great leaders. Some of you guys are going to have really bad coaches. Honor matters. And the question is not if authority will fail. The question is how you respond when it does. Because that response will shape your character more than anything else. Who will you become? Deuteronomy 5:16 says, honor your father and mother as the Lord your God has commanded you. Listen to this part. That your days may be long. This is the first commandment with a promise. Not because parents are perfect, but because honor stabilizes a people, a community. And the Hebrew word for honor means to give weight, to treat as significant. And listen, Moses isn't asking you to pretend that your parents were flawless. But he is saying that you need to acknowledge the role that they played in shaping you. Write this down. Denying formation does not produce freedom. It produces confusion. Again, spiritual formation is the ongoing process of being shaped by God's word and spirit into Christ-likeness, meaning you become more like Christ, less like you. And so to deny formation, it's not actually giving you freedom. It's giving you confusion. It leads you to confusion. And this is where I want to slow down. Honor does not mean agreeing with everything. Honor does not mean excusing sin. Honor does not mean staying silent about harm. It doesn't mean refusing to remain unsafe. Deuteronomy actually never teaches blind obedience. In fact, Deuteronomy places limits on authority. The parents are accountable. Leaders are accountable. Authority exists for the health of the community. Remember, they were slaves. Now they're free, and God's helping them walk into being a nation. And that's us. We were slaves, and now we're free. And God's helping us become healthy people, a healthy community to help build the kingdom of God. Listen, Deuteronomy calls children to honor their parents, but on the flip side, parents to be accountable to the community. If there was a trial, the child would be put on display, and if you read the verse, the verse says a rebellious son, and they're not talking about like, hey, you didn't do dishes, we're going to court. A rebellious son in that time was someone who caused physical harm, who was trying to tear the name apart, trying to be a violent person in the community. And they would bring those people. But also if they had to bring that child, the parents then were also put on display. Their authority and their leadership was also put on display. Their dysfunction was made public. Deuteronomy calls children to honor their parents, but for parents to be accountable. Honor is not silence. Honor is responsibility. It's responsibility. It's choosing truth over bitterness, wisdom over reaction, formation over revenge. If you want to see this command lived out, we got to look at David. You guys know David, King David, shepherd boy David, David and Goliath David, right? They got movies about him now. Who's seen the animated movie David, that new one? I got to be honest, really good. It's a really good one. If you're old enough, they got the House of David, also really good. We're talking about David. David was anointed king, but he was not yet king. He still had to live under King Saul. And King Saul was crazy. King Saul wasn't just like, I'm going to be mean today. I'm going to ask David to go sweep the hallway when I don't want to do it. Some of y'all think your parents are mean because they ask you to help out around the house. They're not mean, you're lazy. Saul was unstable. He was unstable. He was jealous. Saul was abusive. Saul actually tried to kill David. And he actually used his authority to protect himself and not the people. That doesn't sound like good authority. That matters because sometimes I think we try to, not on purpose, but I think we just go like, yeah, Saul wasn't a good guy. No. We water it down. No, Saul was dangerous to David. And I don't think that's everybody in this room, but I do think there's some kids in here that you might be in a spot where you're in a dangerous spot. And others of you just need to grow up. But for the people who are in a dangerous spot, I want you to look at how David handles this. And for all of us, honestly. Saul's dangerous, and here's how David responds. He said, I will not lift my hand against the Lord's anointed. David did not excuse Saul's sin. What did he do? He fled, he told the truth, and he set boundaries. I want you to know this, that honor did not mean access. Saul did not get access to David. Honor did not mean silence, though. Honor did not mean pretending Saul was safe. But he refused, watch this, he refused to let Saul's brokenness turn him into a dishonorable man. And that's our struggle sometimes. We have authority in our lives who's not the best. Bosses we work for who are jerks. Teachers who are rude. But David didn't let their brokenness make him dishonorable. And that's the tension we have to hold. David also refused to assassinate Saul's character. He refused to mock him publicly. He refused to take revenge when he had the chance to become ruthless just because Saul was. You see, David had multiple moments where he could have ended Saul's life and with it his problems. And every time, David chose character over control. David honored the position without imitating the corruption. And here's where I want you guys to understand, because I don't want this to be a sermon series that feels like we're just bringing up trauma and everyone needs to have a big old therapy session. There's some of us that need to understand that there are boundaries and we can walk and we can be safe. And we need to be safe. And I want you to be safe. But also, we're still called to honor the position. Not letting them dictate who you become. That's the ancient way. Honor that does not deny reality, but refuses to become bitter. Honor that says, I will not let your brokenness rewrite who I am. Guys, that's strength. That's maturity. That's leadership being formed. Here's how this plays out in our world, 2026. Our world disciples us towards two extremes. When authority fails you, the message usually goes to one of two things. And the first one is to tear it down. It's to talk about your parents like they're a joke, to roll your eyes when they speak, to reduce them to their worst moments like you don't have any, to drag their failures into every conversation. Here's the deal. It feels powerful to do that, but really it's just training contempt. And contempt destroys. It destroys communities. It destroys people. The second one, the other extreme, is that we replace it with ourselves. This was like me. This was me. You're probably like me, some of y'all. I'll never listen to anyone again. I'll do it my way. I don't need authority. I trust myself more than I trust anybody else. From experience, I want you to know that this feels independent, It feels like you're setting yourself up and you're independent, but I want you to know it leads to isolation. Both extremes destroy families. Both destroy leadership. Both destroy futures. But here in the middle of this, Moses offers a third way: honor. So what does that look like for you as a student? I'm going to give you a list. The list is bigger than what I could write. But maybe it might look like choosing not to mock your parents in front of your friends, even when your parents frustrate you. Maybe it's speaking respectfully in a disagreement instead of reacting with sarcasm. Maybe it's setting boundaries without burning bridges. And don't we just like to burn bridges all the time? Someone makes us mad, boom, the bridge is gone. Like we can't just set boundaries and still have a bridge. Maybe it's telling the truth without becoming cruel. Maybe it's obeying where you can, even when you don't feel understood. Maybe it's refusing to let anger become your identity. I've been praying for some of y'all tonight, man. I've been praying that anger would just that God would just come set you free. That anger would let go of its grip on you because it's destroying you on the inside. Honor does not mean that you agree with everything. It means you refuse to become someone other than the person that God is forming you to be. And some of you guys, you're going to honor parents by continuing something healthy that they model. Faithfulness, consistency, humility, presence. That takes gratitude. Others of you, you're going to honor your parents by being the place where health begins. You're going to choose a different tone. You're going to choose a different way of handling conflict. You're going to choose a different response to stress, a different way of leading. That takes courage. Here's the deal. Both paths are hard. Both require humility. Both require death to self. Both lead to life. Because again, slaves becoming free people so they can be a whole, healthy nation. So you didn't choose your parents. You didn't choose your authority figures. You didn't choose the season you were born into. But you do get to choose who you become. That's what this commandment is about. Honor is not pretending everything was okay. Honor is refusing to let what hurts you define you. Some of you were given something healthy, and honoring your parents means carrying that forward. Again, others, you guys were given brokenness, and honoring your parents means being the place where health begins. Both are costly, both still require humility, and both require denying or dying to the instinct of reacting and instead choosing to respond and not just react to your emotions and just blow up. Moses is not asking Israel to protect bad leadership. He's forming a people who are strong enough to carry authority without it corrupting them. And this is where faith stops being theoretical. This is where discipleship becomes visible. This is where your parents get to see, are you a disciple of Christ? This is where your friends get to see, are you really a disciple? The ancient way is not about blind obedience. The ancient way is about courageous formation. It's choosing wisdom over resentment. It's choosing maturity over reaction. It's choosing obedience over control. Honor is how God teaches his people to carry formation without repeating the damage. It's choosing to live free without letting resentment rule you and dictate who you become. It's refusing to let broken authority shape your character. It's It's deciding that I will honor without excusing sin, and I will obey God without becoming bitter. That's not weakness. That's how God forms people strong enough to build the future. Guys, this altar is not about fixing your parents. It's not about pretending everything was okay. It's not about pretending that you don't feel what you feel. This altar that I'm going to give you the opportunity to respond to, is about decision. A decision about who will you become. Who will you become? Because every person in this room has experienced and has been shaped by authority. We've been shaped by good authority, by bad authority. I just want to take this moment real quick. I just want to press in on this one more time. I would say most of you guys have really good parents. How you honor them matters. I'm not saying they're perfect. No one's perfect. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. But how you honor them, how you have a relationship with that role of authority matters. Because one day, guess what? You're going to be a parent. One day, you're going to be worried about your kid who's not home on time. You're going to wonder where they are. One day, you're going to be stressed out because you don't have the money to pay the bills, and all you want to do is make sure your kids have food on the table and that your spouse has their needs. And in those moments, guess what? I'd be willing to bet that you might lose your cool. That your perfect reputation might fall apart. That you might say something crazy to your kid that you don't mean. But in the middle of weight and stress, just like you feel it, they feel it. Honor, for most of you guys, is about forgiving. Giving grace to your parents. Loving them the way that Christ loves you. And then there are some people who you got Sauls in your life. And I've said it and I'll say it one more time. David gave himself boundaries. He got himself safe. He didn't deny the truth. He told the truth. But yet he still honored. I want you to know, if you're not safe, be safe. Come talk to me. I want you to be safe. But even so, the call is still to honor the position. And that's where it gets hard to be a disciple of Jesus. Because not everything is easy. It's not always like God's grace and his cross. That's where it starts. But guess what? Discipleship is for life. It's dying to yourself. It's having humility. It's understanding that not everyone's perfect, but maybe even though this person's lost their mind and they're acting like Saul, guess what? I can honor the authority position, and I'm not going to let them dictate who I become. I'm going to start over for my family right here, right now. We've all been shaped by authority. And now God's putting the choice in front of you. Will you let that shape you, or will you let him shape you? Jesus said, if anybody wants to follow me, guess what? Let him deny himself. Take up his cross and follow me. And for some of you, honor is that cross. Not because it's easy, not because it's fair, not because it feels good, but because it's forming Christ in you. So some of you tonight need to make that decision, that you're not going to let bitterness define you, that you're not going to let broken authority harden you, that you're going to forgive your parents and realize, I got pretty good parents. Maybe they're struggling with something. Maybe I can show grace the way that Christ has shown grace to me. I will obey God without becoming bitter. That's spiritual maturity, guys. That's where we're headed this year, to be disciples, to be spiritually mature. Not to go based off our emotions all the time, become disciples of Jesus, to walk away from slavery and to step into freedom. This altar is not about your past, it's about your future. It's about choosing formation to be formed by Him instead of over your frustration, obedience over your offense, healing over your hatred, and trust over your control. It's about giving God your anger, your disappointment. You give Him your fear of becoming like them. I'm just saying, God, I trust you to form me. So tonight, there's two people here. If you'd say, hey, I'm ready, there's no hype here. Okay? I don't want you to respond if you're not for real about it. Okay? I really don't. Don't waste your time. If you would say, I want to choose honor. I know it's hard. But I want to be able to show the love of Christ to the positions of authority over me the way He's shown me. I want to step into the ancient way. I'm tired of walking in slavery, and I want to step into freedom. And even though it's hard, and even though I don't want to, I know it's the right next step, and I want to step into that. And I choose honor today, that I choose maturity, that I'm choosing obedience, I'm choosing formation, that tonight I'm choosing Christ. If that's you, would you just raise your hand? Thank you. The other people in here would be this. You're not quite ready to let go because you've been hurt, because you have Sauls in your life. Maybe you're like, I'm not ready to say yes to that, but I do need prayer because I just need to be with Jesus, and I need to know why. I need to feel His presence. I need to know His love. If that's you, would you raise your hand? Thank you. If you raise your hand, we're going to take a few minutes before we go to groups. I want to invite you right now, don't think about it, to either come up to the front or step off to the side in those seats. And I just want you to take some time with Jesus. And our leaders, we're going to come find you, and we're going to come pray with you.